Humanity has deluded itself into anxiety, depression, sickness, dis-ease, and breaking out of these delusions is like breaking out of the matrix, waking up to our true nature and living as fully actualized and fully embodied beings. What is up, Manifesting Family? My name is Marna. I am a manifestation and mindset coach, and I use a science based perspective so you can reliably use these techniques and tricks over and over and over to get the results that you want. Now, before we dive into this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. That way, it can reach out to all the people who need it. And today, I wanted to talk about 4 self-imposed delusions that we have all been victim to at one point or another, and many are still confined by today. The great thing about having these delusions, though, is that humanity is always entertaining. Once our attention is drawn to them, once we see our blind spots, we can actually overcome them, transcend them, and live the way that we are meant to, that we were always supposed to. So once we get this information, we start to unravel and undo the delusion that we've lived in our entire lives. We start to heal ourselves from it. And remember, this is a mass delusion. It happens through programming, indoctrination, socialization. We're made to forget our true nature. Magic is taken away from us. The truth is concealed so that we can become better parts of the machine, so that we will follow the leaders with no questions, living day in and day out with a blindfold on. But little by little, we can unravel this delusion and wake up to our truth. I want to begin to unravel the delusions. So please don't take any of the things on this list as an attack, because you are not alone in this. I'm in this process along with you. I'm someone who has been diagnosed with multiple chronic illnesses. I spent years in a wheelchair until I started breaking free of these delusions and healing myself. So, the way that these delusions show up in our lives is going to be unique to each individual, but the major themes are super consistent, and the end result is always the same. It's so much stress, so much anxiety, sickness, disease, depression, and overall lack of joy and peace and calm, and the ability to just live in our center. But undoing these 4 delusions will get you that much closer to your true nature. It will make life that much more enjoyable. And, you know, I've seen this happen in my own life. I've seen it happen in the lives of my clients and of my friends. So the number one delusion that we are stuck in is that we're too stuck in our own identity. And we express this often through our likes and our dislikes. So our likes and our dislikes drive our actions in the way that we interact with other people, with ourselves, and with the world. So, for example, you don't like it when it rains out, and so it becomes a part of your identity. And there means you'll never go dance in the rain. Or a person doesn't like bugs, so they'll never go anywhere where there's bugs likely to be, like outside. You won't even sit on the grass because you're afraid of the creepy crawlies. And it's only when you become attuned to your true nature and to nature in general that you start practicing walking on the grass barefoot, dancing in the rain. Only then do you realize that you have missed out on amazing experiences, because this identity, this stagnant definition of who I am, that I was afraid of bugs, that I didn't want to get wet in the rain. So, to overcome that, you have to spend time out facing that fear, facing what it is that you are telling yourselves about. And then you have to face who you could be when you let that delusion go. When you break down that aspect of your identity and continue to live your life without that limiting belief that you've put in place, then, it teaches you to consider in what ways your likes and dislikes are keeping your identity so rigid. and preventing you from experiencing mystery and adventure, or even just keeping you locked in a place where peace and calm are out of reach. I mean, maybe you're set on the fact that you don't like to work, that you don't like to work out, so you don't work out. Or you don't like to meditate, or that you're bad at meditating. Now, when you sit there and look at these things and become more fluid with your likes and dislikes, ultimately you understand that everything in the human experience is constantly changing. If we are rigid in our identity, we are not allowing ourselves to flow and to let go and to just enjoy life. Now, the second delusion that we're stuck in is that we live in the past or we live in the future. And we talk about being present in the moment a lot on this channel. I mean, being present in the moment is where our point of attraction exists. This is where joy exists. There is nothing other than the present moment, than the right now. So when you take a moment to feel the present, feel your body, wherever it is that you're sitting down, standing, just take a deep breath and just feel yourself existing. Hear what you can hear. Smell what you can smell. What can you sense? The reason why human beings have anxieties is because of our ability to mentally imprison ourselves in the past and to live in fear of the future. So constantly thinking about the future, constantly planning for the future, and just letting our mind always be in the next moment rather than the present one is the recipe for anxiety. And being stuck in the past and dwelling on things that have happened in the past and being afraid of them happening again is the recipe for depression. So while visualization for manifestation is very powerful, there's no important space for manifesting than in the present moment. Right here, right now is our point of attraction. And right here and right now is the only thing that actually exists. Thinking about the past is thinking about a fairy tale, a distant story, a memory that we can't access again. Time is not linear, and you can, in meditation, go backwards in time. But the way that our thinking mechanisms, this is our filtering mechanisms work, is it makes us experience everything moment by moment. And the reason humans and even some other animals that are around us a lot, like dogs and cats, experience anxiety and depression is because we have this capability of using our minds to go back in time and to go forward in the future. And this just creates fear. Have you ever seen a dog that's gotten triggered by fireworks, where the panting and the trembling starts? It's because they have this fear of the loud sound, that fear that's rooted in a past experience, and they cannot let go of that fear and just be present in the moment to realize that that loud sound isn't actually dangerous to them. And we are the same way. When we worry about the future, life is just flying by, and we continue to worry about the next moment and the next one rather than experiencing the one that we are in. And suddenly you find yourself 10 years down the line, and where did the last 10 years of my life go? So you have to find ways to keep yourself present. Focus on your senses. Look into people's eyes. Taste the food that you're eating. Feel your body as it exists in space. And stop distracting yourself. I mean, we are constantly distracting ourselves from feeling the present moment. This is the ego structure mechanism we get so lost in, our own thoughts. We want to exit the realm of chaotic rambling and enter the world of living mindfully. That's because we are getting caught up in the ego distracting us from the present. The third delusion is that we are constantly wanting more, constantly wanting new things. We have been programmed, socialized, indoctrinated to constantly desire more and constantly want the new best thing. That's why we keep upgrading our phones and our technology, our electronics, our wardrobes, our piercings, our tattoos. It's why we make all this money just to spend it on fast fashion that doesn't last, that we have to continuously buy new things. It's not natural to you because it's actually your mind, your ego, that is insatiable. Your heart and your soul, who you truly are, doesn't need anything outside of yourself in order to feel satisfied and to feel good. This is the ego that's constantly desiring things because the ego wants to constantly identify itself through materiality. It thinks that if it has more material objects or if it has more things, if it's doing better than the Joneses, that it wants to have this display of consumerism. If it covets more, if it aspires to more, hustle culture, getting more, it can become more material and therefore not perish through enlightenment. But the more that we desire, the more we put ourselves through mental anguish. When will I have this thing that I want so badly? When will this thing come into manifestation? And then once I have it, it's the next. We become like these wild beasts, stuffing ourselves at a carcass that is in front of us, only thinking about when's the next one coming? Can we consume more? And the answer to this is so simple. It's just to stop. Stop adding more and more things to your cart, to the things you need, to your lists. You don't need more goals. Having big goals and big dreams in your life is amazing, but if you're constantly creating them just to make the ego have something to aspire to, then that's not the point of manifestation that you want to come from. You want to come from a place that's already satisfied, that's satiated. And through your spiritual journey, you'll find yourself wanting less and less material things. Decide that you're in control of your consumption. No ad, no marketing, nothing outside of yourself is going to tell you what you need and what you need to get, what you need to have. And a very good thing to do in considering your need for consumption is to analyze where these desires are coming from. And often you'll find they're not even your own. When I searched hard within myself years ago, I found that I didn't actually have any desire for designer handbags, 10 cars, the luxury mansion, whatever. I'd been programmed to believe that's what I needed in order to be happy. And that's not the case. Because, guess what? The people who do have those things will tell you, and they do tell you. Listen to Jim Carrey. You can search the videos up on YouTube, but having these things doesn't cause happiness. I mean, they get the goal and then they just want more and more and more, and that is their ego constantly looking for more things to fill themselves up with. Satisfaction never actually comes from attaining anything. It only comes from the inner peace, from quieting and soothing the ego with love and support. It's really nice to have goals and to have desires, but we have to ensure that our present moment happiness does not depend on future achievements. Let yourself be happy with what you already have. The paradox is in the state of having. A focus on what you already have means that more always comes. And as more comes, you're still not identifying yourself by what you receive. Now, the last delusion that I want to talk about today is attachment to things and to people. When we're attached to things or people, we believe that they should be ours and ours alone. And what people don't seem to understand is that attachment and possession are two sides of the same coin. These are viruses that infect the relationship, or the relationship between you and this thing that you have, the relationship with this other person that the thing that you feel like you've attained. When someone believes, even subconsciously, that they possess another person, then that relationship gets sick. Think about how a relationship starts out. Before there is that aspect of attachment and possession. Usually it doesn't happen until you kind of like define and label the relationship. In the beginning, there's this freedom. this joy that comes along with that feeling of just being loved and accepted. But then you put the labels on it and you start having that feeling of being possessed by somebody and possessing somebody else because you've become attached to this person. And it means all these other things that we've been taught. It means, society saying this person can't do this and can't do that, and I can't do this and I can't do that. And that's the virus of possession. That's where the problems start. Attachment pollutes love. And this happens with the things that we own or with the people in our lives. We become attached to our homes, our cars, our clothes, our jewelry, and we infect them with this possession sickness. And once we identify ourselves through these things, we become so deluded and truly believe that our personality and our worth, our worthiness, is validated by these things that we have, these material objects or these relationships that we have. So there are ways to release this attachment, but the most important step is to consider whether your intentions with these things or with these people is pure. If there's any selfishness, then the possession infection will begin. Love things and love people the way that they are. Recognize that things and people come and go from our lives, even when we marry someone, even when we think that we are in forever. At one point, we will have to let them go because our physical vessels do stop and our souls continue elsewhere. So you're never going to have something or someone forever and ever and ever. Everything changes. That's the human condition. Everything changes, and we have to shift our perspective on those changes from fearing them into loving them and appreciating them and seeing that they're just a part of life. So practice enjoying everything for what it is in the moment and for the time that it lasts, and be prepared to say goodbye to things graciously. The more we can receive and we let go and graciously, the more graciously we do this, the better that it is. So those are our 4 delusions that we must transcend in order to become our happiest, best, most centered, and balanced self, and kind of exit the matrix reality. Wake up to our true nature. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below which of these delusions really spoke to you. What delusion have you been noticing in humanity? Humanity has amnesia and is deluded by this one thing. Leave it down in the comments below. I want to talk about this. I want to find out what you think. And thank you so much for sharing this video with me. This is Marna, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.